Welcome to this new tutorial series where we will replicate Airbnb with Astro. We will create a search bar, filters, property items with images and individual pages. And we'll be using Astro, which is the content-driven websites. So it is going to be a nice little series, and we'll do a basic version of Airbnb. So I use Visual Studio Code. So if we open that up, and we will say npm create Astro at latest, and we will call it Astro Rentals, and we're gonna say empty, yes. I'm gonna say no for now, and we will do that. All right, now we can cd into the Astro Rentals and npm install. And while that's installing, we will take a look at what we have to do. So the first thing we need to do is break down. We've got a nav bar here. We've got another, I guess this is a filter bar, and then a footer right at the end here. The footer will be very, very basic, but we'll add that in. And let's see if this is, yeah, excellent. So we'll do that. And when you think about Astro, what's great about it is they have great documentation, and it's for static websites, obviously. So which basically means your website will load quicker, because JavaScript is is optional rather than by default. So we'll create a listing, we'll create loads of listings, and using Markdown. And if we take a look at that, so we'll be using components, pages, layouts, and we'll be using Markdown. So this will basically be our way of creating properties. So we will do that. Astro Rental. Okay, everything is done. So we're in there and everything is created. Now we're going to do npx Astro add tailwind. And I'm going to add tailwind CSS. It's going to help us with our let's just keep saying yes to these questions. So excellent. So that's all right. And if we will open up open folder. I'm going to go straight into here. So this is the project structure. So we've got sources and pages, index.astro. So that's what is the blank. We're going to create a folder called layouts under the source folder, components, and we're going to make another one called content. Okay, in the components we're going to create one called header.astro and another file called footer.astro. Layout, we're going to call it default layout.astro, and that's the home page. And I think for now that's what we're going to do. In the header.astro, we're going to take everything out of the, sorry, in the layout.astro, we're going to cut this. We're going to go into the default layout, paste it. And in the body, we will put header, which will be the header.astro file, and footer. And it imports it by default. There we go. And in the middle here, we're going to put a slot. Okay. So, and then in the index.file, we'll just put h1. Actually, a div h1. Astro rentals. So now, if we open the terminal, and we say npm run dev, and we're going to open it on portal 4321. So localhost 4321, and there we go, Astro rentals. And what we will do, we will just double check to see if the tailwind CSS is working. And if we do header, footer, default layout, okay. So body, header, and in the header we will say nav with a class of padding 4, footer the div dot p4, copy Astro rentals. Justify between. Let's take a look. Excellent. And in the index, we've got this h1, but we're just going to cut that for now. We're going to have a div, the h1 in here, and we're going to say div with a class of h screen, bg, gray, 500. There we go. So, Astro rentals, we're going to say text white. I'm going to say 300 for the background. And okay. So, flex it equals mx-auto. H screen. Let's see what that looks like. We'll change that to background 200. Well, this is just to get things just kind of set up a little bit. And the nav flex. And the URL class of flex as well. Yeah. P-4 and -4. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. Let's delete that. Okay, so we've got a padding 4, an li with a class of padding 4 as well. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. And we're going to say this is font bold to indicate that that one is when we're on now. And the text is pink 500. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's good. Let's take a look. Excellent. We're going to put H1 of Astro rentals. And we're going to put the class of, we'll put class, of font bold. There we go. Astro rentals. There we go. And we make this text triple XL, so that's nice and big. Excellent. Alright, so now in the index we have up. Excellent. So we'll say padding 4. And let's say text center. MXH screen W width 4. Let's try 4. Max width XL. Let's try that. Right. And we'll get rid of the background color here. And we'll put text center. Excellent. And in the nav bar, we will put a border bottom. Border blue 500, just to make sure that this is going to work. Yeah, okay. Go border pink 500. And border dash 4 to make it a nice thick border. Okay. Border dash B dash 4. Is that how we do it? Yeah. There we go. So we've got a border there. And we'll wrap this in a div. And this too. Excellent. So there we go. It's the start of our Astro rental page. In the next section, we'll start to flesh it out a little bit more with some content and markdown files, etc. H1 and say something like find your adventure, and a paragraph that says explore unique homes and experiences all over the world. And with this section, we're gonna have a class object cover, height 60, and we'll get an image to put on in the background, and we're gonna also put flex and justify center, items center. And this one we're going to class of text center and text white. So let us, best place I know to find out how to do a background color image is Flowbyte, and this is what I want to do. Let's copy that, let's go back here and put that there. We're not going to do the multiplier, we're not going to do the background. Alright, so that's the hero. And if we go into the index.astro and we add hero, well, let's import it. Import hero from components. Astro. Components. Oh, hero.astro. There we go. Okay, and if we take a look, which is localhost 4321, there we go. So we've got this. And we're going to change the image. And if we go to Unsplash, and we'll just say home, we're going to get make sure the license is free, and say real estate, and let's take this one, and we'll copy the image address. And what we can do in Astro, in the hero section, we've got, what we can do is const image URL equals that. And instead of that, we can make sure that we use yeah. What we do instead of that, we'll put see if this works. So that didn't work, but what we can do is what we can do instead, we can just copy this and put it here instead. That's fine. Yep. And what we will do, make the width full, and in our index, Astro will take away the max width for Excel. And there we go, we should have a nice thing. And we'll get rid of the padding. And yep, awesome. And we will put padding on the welcome. And so the text is 5 pixel. Okay, we'll change that back to 4XL or 3XL, sorry. We'll go to the hero. And we'll do the class of font bold, text 4XL, and this class of text XL. So that's great. And we've got opacity -50 on the image so that it will stand out a little bit. What if we did okay, so we'll put background gray 500 blend. Actually, full, that's fine. Excellent. So this is the hero section. So we've got that, which is nice. So we might remove the welcome to Astro section completely. So that there we go. Excellent. So because it's very difficult to read that, we'll darken the image. And we will do that by adding this. We'll say the hero. Here we go. So we will make that 400. There we go. So here we go. So we've got a nice little hero section created. And what we will look into now is adding a search bar. So what we will do is, let's create another component and we'll call it search bar.astro. And we'll do a form. No action right now. And we'll say input. If you've got auto I like to have the auto filler. You got input type of text, input type date, and we'll put a placeholder, and this is destination, and this is check-in, and another date. Put input date, input date, and we'll put placeholder checkout, and then input number scroll down and find number, and we'll just say placeholder and guests. And then we want a button with type of submit, and we'll say search. And now we want is our classes. So we'll say flex, justify, center, gap, -1, margin, BG white, padding, border 8. Oh, actually, let's say rounded MD instead. And shadow MD as well. That's the form. And the inputs, they want to add class to each input. I'm gonna have a padding of 1. Border B -1, border -1, and we'll say rounded MD, and we'll copy that. And with the button, the class will be background, let's say pink 500, text white, cursor pointer, okay, and then border, no. Alright. So then we'll go back into the hero and we will add the random number div, and we will put search bar. Oops. Search bar. Import search bar. And then we'll take a look. Okay, and what we will do, excellent. So we'll take the search bar. Okay. So we're going to want that underneath, so we'll just put it in the same, put it here, forget this div, get rid of that div. There we go, so destination, checkout, check in, check out. So what we'll do, we'll add labels to the search bar because it seems div dot. We'll put each thing in a div and it will have a label, destination, and we'll call it destination. We'll give it text black so that we can see everything. So where are you going? And we'll do it the same again. Div.text black. And we'll have a label saying, when are you coming? And we'll copy this and say, when are you leaving? We'll put this here, and we'll put this there, and then we will do this. How many are you? So I'll just change that to check in. Check out. Let's say destination. Check in. And we'll say check out. And we'll just say yes. All right, so now we have a hero section with the destination, check in and check out days, and how many guests, and it starts, yep, in the search button. All right, awesome. So now that we have that, in the next video we will look at creating the location cards for each rental. Okay, now we can add the categories. So what we're going to do, I installed Astro Icon, Iconify, and MDI as well. So you do that by saying npx astro add and then icon, etc, etc. I've already done that, so I've got my thing running. So first of all, we'll create a component. We'll say category card Astro, and what we will do, we will create a interface, and we're going to import icon and say from Astro icon components, and say interface props, and we're going to ask for the label, which will be a string. The icon will also be a string, and we're going to say the link will be a string. Then we will deconstruct that. So let's go with const label icon and link. Astro Astro.props. Alright, now we can create our component. So we're going to have a div, and we're going to have an a with a href of I'm going to remove that and put the backticks. And we're going to say /categories $$ open curly braces link. And within this link, we're going to have a div with a class of padding 4 and text white. What we're going to say is, start with an icon. Oops. And the name of the icon will be the icon. And we're going to give it a size of 30. And a class of text center. Okay, and then we want to have H1 of the label. Okay, so that's our card component. Now we're going to go into our index page. And actually I've created a data folder here, the categories in here. So I've got categories and I've sourced a few categories from the iconers.org website. So I've got beach, camping, cabin, and all these things. So what we're going to do in index here, we are going to say what we want to do. We want to import the categories from the data categories file, and we also want to import the card, category card. Excellent. Okay, so now what we want to do, we want to go to, after our hero section, we want a div with a class of flex, justify between, padding of 3, I'm going to say background pink, 500. Okay, now we're going to loop through, so we're going to say categories dot map, and we're going to say category card, and what we want to do, category card, yeah, that's it. And I'm going to say label is cat.label, link is cat.link, and icon is cat.icon. So this corresponds to label, icon, and links. So now put a dash here, make sure that's right. Okay, so I'm running on my machine, and here we go. So we've got the beach logo, and if we look at the link at the bottom, it shows beach, camping, cabin, and right now if I click on it, it doesn't give me anything. But what we're going to do now is make a listing for that specific category. So go pages, and we're going to make a file called categories, and we're going to make a file called square braces id.astro. And what we're going to do is we are going to import the categories again. And we are also going to import the default layout. just to have consistency. And then we're going to say const category equals astro.params, and we're going to say const selected category equals categories dot find. I'm going to say cat dot link equals category. Right, so we're finding the link, and now we're going to export async function get static paths, and we are going to say return. We want a categories.map, and we're going to map the categories again, and we're going to say this time the params. I'm going to say category equals cat.link. Okay. Now what we're going to do, we're going to put the default layout. And we're going to scale div with a class of hScreen, and div with a class of hScreen, and exported. And we're going to say h1 with a class of padding 4, font bold, and the text is for Excel. And we're going to say properties related to, and we're going to say selected category dot label. Okay, so I'm going to rename this ID to be, it should be category, it's got in the square basis, there we go. So now we'll just close all of these, open our index, okay. So now if we open our folder and we click on beach, I've made an error there. Just double check what I've got in the categories here. Oh, we're missing a, let's see if that makes some difference. Yeah. Okay, so we've got camping, properties related to camping, properties related to the city, excellent, pool. So we've created our categories section, and in the next video we will start on making listings. What we could do as well is keep this hero section as well. So all we have to do that in our category file, we'll bring in hero, and then that way it'll be a little bit more consistent. Exactly, excellent. And we can also add a little thing that says we'll have a span, and then a tag goes back to home, so back to all properties. So when we click on one, it's back to all properties. We can put there, or we can put it underneath. Okay, awesome. We'll add some padding. That way we don't have to do it there. Okay, so back to all properties. Right. Okay, so now that we've successfully created our categories, I'll show you what I mean by the iconers. iconers.js.org. We've got material symbols, material design icons, and you can basically, let's say, what was it, beach? And you can choose which icon you wanted. So if we wanted to change it to MDI beach in the categories here, I could just say MDI beach. And if I look now at the home page, it's changed. So if we want the icon to show up there as well, all we need to do is kind of similar to this, we'll import icon, and we will copy that, and we will add that here. Selected category.icon. So there we go. And if we wanted to remove that, put the size here. We're going to say height of 48. Width 48. We'll change that. Should we say size equals 60. And yep, there we go. So if we go now to any of the other, we've got exactly what we expected. The icon along with the, and we can change this back to properties to make sure it's class text dash pink dash 500 underline. There we go. Looks a little bit more. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so this is where we left off with the categories. We're going to now do the listings area, similar to, if we look at Airbnb, we have all these little the listings, got an image, the location, and the price. We're not going to do the date or the how far away it is, just for simplicity. So we'll make a listings card, and we will do everything statically in this section. So I've made a content folder under the source folder called rentals, and I've created a markdown file which has a title, slug, location, price per night, maximum guests, bedrooms, bathrooms, category, room type, and the amenities, along with an image which is in the public images folder. I've got images, house, cabin, and a simple description in the end here. So what we're going to do, first off, we're going to make a component, and we're going to make a listings card.astro. And what we will do is we will create the props. So first of all, let's do the props here. We've got interface, props. And what we're going to want is the image, which will be a string. We want the location, which will also be a string. To be honest, all of them will be strings. Location, string. Oh, actually the price will be a number. And the slug will be a string as well. So we'll hold those, and that's what we got here. And then we have div, and what we will do in this div, we will create, we will say an A with an href or / listings. Oops, make sure it's not capital, listings / and then we will put, so we'll put this in, we'll use these marks here, backticks, and we will say slug. Oops, slug. So it's going to go to the listings, and then whatever the slug is, that's what we will, that's the location of the file. So then what we will do, we will say a div with the class of shadow -md, and we'll say we'll give it the image, and the alt will also be, we'll just use the slug for the alt. Oh, I forgot to add that, so we need to image, we need to make sure we can access these variables, equals astro.props, there we go. Okay, so we've got the image, and then we've got the h1, which is going to be just the location. And then we're going to have a span with a price. So I'm going to use euros, you can use whatever you want. And we're going to put price. And I'm going to put a class of font bold there. And we're going to put the shadow, we're going to add a padding as well. Okay, so that's going to basically be our listing. So in order to make a listing, especially for it to correspond with this, whatever's in the rentals, we're going to create a config.js file. And here we are going to use import glob, define collection. So we've got the rentals here, and what we'll do, we have the schema, so we've got title, location, price, maximum guests, bedrooms, bathrooms, category, room type, amenities, and the image. So we're making all of those, making sure that a rental contains all of these things, and then we export this collection to rentals. So now in our index file, what we can do, we can say get collection from astro.content. We can import the listing card, and and now what we're going to do is we're going to make a grid with columns of 1, maximum column, let's say 5, gap of 3, padding of 2, and margin of 2. And now we're going to loop through all the rentals. So the rental, remember we had slug, price, and image, and location. So that's what we're going to put in these brackets here, and save that. So now if we run the Sorry, I've got a console log there, I don't need that anymore. Now if we run the npm run dev, we should see location and a price. And if we hover over, it will take us to rental cozy, which is the slug that we decided that we're going to use. So in order to actually make that work, we're going to create pages. Under pages, we're going to go new folder, and we're going to say listings, and we're going to say bracket square bracket slug dot astro, right? And in the slug dot astro file, we are going to say we're going to import get collection, and we're also going to import render from Astro content, and we're going to import the default layout. Oops. And we are going to export async function. We're going to get the static paths. Okay, and then what we're going to do, we're going to const rentals equals await get collection rentals. So we're going to get all the rentals there. Then we're going to return the rentals.map, and it's going to take a rental any, and we're going to loop through that so that we can get the slug. So we're going to go params. We're going to say params, and it's going to be slug rental.slug. Right? And then we also want the props to be the rental. Oh, we've forgotten it. Open and close the curly place here. There we go. So that's everything. And next, we want to make sure once we've done all of that, let's deconstruct everything. So let's say const rental equals astro.props. And we also want the content, so we say const content equals with the new content layer, so render rental. And then we're going to go const amenities, and we're going to say that that is the rental.data.amenities. Sorry about that. And just taking a look at the markdown file again. See the amenities as a list here. So I'm looping through this list and making sure we get that straight. So back into the slug. Okay, so now that we've got all of that, now let's actually make the page. So we'll start with default layout, but eventually we might change that to our a separate layout, one specifically for rentals. And what we'll do, we'll give this a div with a class of MX Auto, and a max width of XL, and inside that we will create, we will put the H1, which will be the rental.data.title, and then we'll put the image, and that is rental.data.main image. Again, make sure that you... Okay, so then... And then put rental.slug as the alt for this image. And then what we want to do is we want to get the description that's in the markdown file. So we'll just put curly brace, we'll put content in less than content, and then slash greater than, and then we will, now we can loop through our details and the amenities and everything. So we can put so yeah, so we're basically going to loop through, going to get the location. We're going to do location, price per night, maximum guests, bedrooms, bathrooms, and category in one div, and then in the other div we're going to loop through the amenities. So I will, instead of you watching me do that, I'll come back when it's done. Okay, so we're going to change that to price underscore per underscore night. Bedrooms, bathrooms, max underscore guests. Just double check that that's right. Bedrooms, bathrooms. Oh yeah. And we still need category and room type. So we'll just copy that. And we'll say category and room type. So there we go. Room underscore type. All right. So after we've got the image, the content at one div here, and we're going to make another div. And this one is going to be the amenities. So first off, we're going to, and we are going to copy this class and put it on this H2 as well. Oops. Excellent. So now that we've got that done, we're going to do the same with the H1 at the top here. Excellent. So we've got this whole slug.astro file, and all it's doing is getting the title, the image, all the information that we have in our markdown file, plus this description at the end here, and we're looping through the list of the amenities, and that's it. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll go to our index, and if we take a look now, So now we've still got the same from earlier, but if we actually click it now, it should take us to, I have one thing I've missed out. So if we look again, make sure that we've got the content. That's all correct. The config. We've got the amenities. Rentals, okay. I've got the render is the issue. So await render, make sure the render is coming from Astro content. And okay, let's see how this. Okay, the issue was here. I was not passing it as a prop. And let's take a look now and see. There we go. So now we have our listing. We can obviously make it a little bit more, style it a bit more, but that is essentially the listing. What we need is a little back to all apartments. So what we'll do here in the listings, after the title, we'll put an H3, and we'll say back to listings, and all it will do, it will be an A, and it will go to listings. Sorry, it won't go to listings, it will go to the home page. So if we look now, we'll say back to listings, and there we go. So here we're getting all the information from that markdown file, and now we can make some more markdown files, and I will show you what that will look like. Let's see. Okay. So there we go, and if we click on each of these, we have the listings, and what it offers, and the type of area it is. So as you can see, the more markdown files we make, the obviously you can update the markdown file as you wish. England, etc. So there we've made a listings page. So now we've made a listings page. And we've made little cards as well. So that the cards will be consistent, we will make sure, if we go back to our card component, listing card component, we will make sure that the class, the height is 48 and the width is full, and we will say that this is rounded as well. Let's take a look and see what that looks like now. So they're all the same size. Excellent. If we wanted the padding 4, okay. Excellent. So yeah, we'll leave it with a shadow. I think the shadow was nice. It was nice to have the shadow on there. And that is the listings. And right now, obviously, it's getting it from the let's make sure that we've got a city.jpg. Okay, so in the cozy, we've got house city, house villa, house village. We're going to make another one. We're going to make rental winter.md, and we're going to say house underscore winter, and we're just going to say this is a house. We're going to say rental winter, and if we take a look at the image, we're going to say that this is in Switzerland, just randomly. Switzerland. In Switzerland. Okay, so that's that. And if we take a look again, wait for it to load. So we say Switzerland. So you notice that the image is not being shown here, and that is because we are, let's close all of these and make sure that the image is actually that. Okay. So now I should show it. Excellent. Okay, so yeah, everything is showing up exactly as we want it. Obviously, like I said, you can obviously make this a little bit more prettier. but that essentially is our listings. So if you would like to see it being pulled from something dynamic, maybe like Strappy or some kind of CMS, some other kind of CMS, Payload or any of those, you could use that to pull in the data yourself. But now what we're going to do in the next video, by request, we want to have a login page. So that's what we will do in the next video. Okay, so in order to make our login page, we are going to use Clerk. It is a user management platform that will make making a dashboard and authenticating users really, really simple. So you just create a new project. So I'm going to create my application. I'm going to call it Astro Rentals, and I'm going to enable email, Google, GitHub, and Notion. Create application, and I'm going to click on Astro, and we're going to go to our terminal now and do that. So this is npm, I have it here, install Clerk the Astro. I've already done that, so I'm not going to do that. That's that. And then you want to look at your environment keys, and I have a .env file right here, which has those files in it, those keys in it, sorry. And next you want to look at your astro.config file. So in my astro.config, I'm using Netlify as my SSR adapter. In order to do that, you just say npx add Astro add Netlify, and it will make sure that that is there. And we also want to make sure that we've got the Clerk from Astro. I'm using Astro icons, that's why that's there as well. And well, we did that in a previous video. And this is all working. So now that we have all of those things, we can create this middleware.ts file. So I've already gone and created that. So this is going to go to a custom page that we're going to call login, and we're going to create that now. So it's going to say if the if somebody goes to the profile page without, just by mistake, we're going to make sure that they get rerouted to this login page. Okay, so that's all fine. So now what we'll do, we will go under pages, and then we will create a login.astro file. And the first thing we're going to do, we're going to import sign in from @Clerk Astro /components. And then we want to have a div with the class of grid, with grid cols background white, text pink -500. inside that we'll have another div with a class of max width MD MX auto. And we'll say sign in path. We'll just put H1 with a class of font dash bold text dash 4XL, and we'll give it a margin bottom of 4, and we'll call this Astro Rentals login. And make sure it's being called in correctly. Okay, and the div before it, so we want to give it a div with a class of bg-center, bg-no-repeat, and that is going to have a bg- and we're going to do a URL. The URL is going to be the dash images dash house city .jpg. And I'm going to give it an object of cover, the BG blend, BG gray 600, BG dash blend dash multiply. Okay, so we'll save that for now. We'll format a document. So this is the first div. This div is non-existent. Okay, so let's see what we got here. All right. So now, if we npm run dev, let's take a look and see what we have on our local host. Okay, that's fine. And if we go to profile, it's going to take us to the login page. All right, so here is the login. So we've got this picture image here and a nice little area there for our login. So we'll just have to make sure that sign in. Yeah, okay. Make sure the sign in is there. Okay. BG. Okay. Let's say class equals BG black. Let's just take a look, make sure. No, okay. That's fine. Excellent. Okay, so I'm just gonna pause it now and just make sure I've added the right credentials in my .env file. That's why it's not working. So let me just do that now. Okay, so if all goes well, you should have a sign-in page from Clerk. And if I sign in, I'm going to use my Google. And I'm going to say yes. But I didn't give it a callback. So we have to make sure that when you create the key, now we're going to update our header component. So we say import signed in and user button. From, oops, I don't know what that is. Let me say that from Clerk Astro components. Okay, and make sure that it's when it says signed in, it's the capital. Okay, and we're going to go here, and after profile, we're going to say signed in. I'm going to say user button. Okay, so if we take a look now, we should see, if we click on it, we should see that we are signed in. Okay, so now we can make our profile page. Profile at Astro, and it will be similar to the login, so we'll just copy that for now and paste that here, and we'll make sure that we import the default layout, because the login page does not have the default layout, so this one is the default layout. Okay, so it's similar, but we're going to get rid of this div, and we're going to get rid of this class. Okay, so what we're going to do, okay, this is how it should look. So now we want to take this and change it to 16, and then here is where we want to add the image. So let's add image SRC, and we are going to, before we do that, we need also to deconstruct the user. So we'll get the user, await astro.locals.current user. Alright, and then we'll basically, from that user, we'll get the user.image URL. I'll make sure current user is a function. There we go. And then we will use the alt text, and we will say user.firstname, and we will remove the source set, but we will add a class instead, and the class will be rounded full and opacity 50. And instead of this rentals login, we will say welcome, and we will say user.firstname and user.lastname. So this is all being brought in by the Clerk API. And then we, instead of the sign in here, we're gonna say sign out button, and we're gonna give it a class which equals bg pink dash 500 text dash white, margin top of 8 and padding of 4. Okay, and just above that we will make a go here and go to profile. Excellent, we should be getting that. I haven't added the rounded full. It hasn't taken. So we've got the image URL, class, H1 with the welcome, and the email address and the sign out button. Okay, we'll leave it like that for now. Obviously you can do what you wish. I would say H screen. Let's try that. There we go, that's better. And if I click the sign out button and I go back to that profile page, it will take me here. So if I log in, profile is here, and if I sign out and I go to profile again, it will take me back to the login page. So that's the simplest way to add a login system to the project. Again, let me take a look, show you again the middleware. Now this is from the docs, and I've added something here to make sure it goes to our custom page. So basically, if anyone goes to profile, if you're not signed in, it will automatically put you into the sign-in page. We could do the same with any other page, but there you go. So that is how to add a login system with Clerk and Astro. Okay, so now we're going to look at trying to make our rentals dynamic. We're going to use Appwrite for this section. It's free. The free tier is very, very generous. If you go to appwrite.io, free, you can build many projects, unlimited projects on the free tier. So I have an account already, and then you will go to console. So we're going to create a new project. We're going to call it rentals, and we can give it custom project ID of rentals as well. You could just leave it blank and it will just randomly generate an ID, but I'm going to call it that, rentals, and it's right now it's only in Frankfurt. So rentals has been created. We're going to be using the web, so we have to say that. And this is Astro Rentals. For now, it's localhost. You can always come back and change this after. So we're going to do this npm install Appwrite. So let's go back to our, if we have it here in the open, npm install Appwrite. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to create a new page under the listings. Yeah, under the listings, and just call it index.astro. And we're going to copy this. Import client from Appwrite. There we go. Make sure we do our thing. We add a default layout to bring that in. And yeah, we'll come back to that in a second. And next, we will copy what's here. So initialize your SDK. So we'll just copy this. And the project is rentals. So we'll go under here. And then I'll click next. Alright, go to dashboard. Awesome. So now that we have a project called rentals, we're going to add a database. And we're going to create a database and we're going to call it listings. And I'm going to change the database ID to also say listings. And we're going to create. So now that we've created that, we're going to create a collection. So the collection name is going to be rentals. Rental list. The collection ID also rental list. Okay. Alright. So we're going to create the collection. Okay. Then we're going to create an attribute. Now, in this case, we're going to be looking at our content that we have already. So we have a title, slug, location, price, maximum guest. So all of these things we're going to basically create here. So we're going to create a string. We're going to call it title. And the size 55. Update. Okay. Delete that for now. Let's try that again. Alright, so integer. Price per night required. And delete this. And now we have a new integer. We're going to go max underscore guests required. And another integer. Bedrooms required. Again. Bathrooms required. You see where we're going with this, and this is strings. This is category, and this is 1. Category is city. Room type is apartment. Amenities is all of that. Okay. Oops, there we go. And the main image, I'm just going to use that for now. And this is going to be this here. Okay, so another thing. Okay, so it says here security is disabled. We will create, but we have to check the settings, permissions. Here we go. And we're going to say all users can create, read, update, and delete. And any users can read. Okay. So it's going to be document attributes, and we're just going to go to the description and update it to 255. Okay. So we're following the documentation here, and we are setting our databases. Client rentals. Okay, so now we're going to say let promise equals databases dot list documents. So the database ID, we can find that. The ID was listings, wasn't it? And the collection was rental listing. And then you'll say promise dot then function, just be an arrow function. Which is basically response console.log response. And okay, and we're going to say let listings equals response. Oops. Okay, so that's what we got here. Let's see what we're going to get. So this is Astro. So in the header, so we're going to add another we're just going to say listing, right? Because it's under listings. Okay. So here's the Astro. I'm going to run this now. Oh, sorry, I've done install Appwrite already. Okay. So basically we're saying if we're signed in, we're going to see profile, listings, and add a listing. So if we go to listings, we should see there should be an await somewhere. So index.profile, should be await. Log promise. Okay, so let's just make sure that our listings are correct, our IDs. So we know that it's rentals is the project, that's fine. And then we have our database, which is listings. Yep. And then our rental list. There we are. Okay. Excellent. So now if we look here, we're getting back this document. Awesome. So let's populate all listings. Data documents, and basically we're going to say all lists. Okay. Now we're going to map through all lists dot map list. And we're going to say h1, and it's the list dot title. Okay, so remember in our database, so it's we're going to need to redo this. So we have the title, we're going to have the location, but you know, we've already kind of done a version of this already. So if we look at the listing card, that's what we'll use. We'll use the listing card as a thing. So we'll say listing card, and the listing card takes image as list.main image. What else does it take? If we look in the listing card, it takes an image, location, price, and slug. Okay, image, location. So list.location, price, list.price underscore per underscore night, and what was the other one? Slug. List.slug. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to, instead of making the listings index, we're just going to go to the other index and move all of that client stuff from Appwrite into here. So we're getting the SDK from Appwrite, creating the client, setting the endpoint, setting the project, creating the database, and getting everything from the rental list database. And we're going to call it rentals and let it return. And we're going to update that. So instead of data, remove all the data. There's rental.slug, rental.price per night, etc., etc. So now if we run npm run dev, we should see the only one that exists, which is Paris, France. Now if we click it, obviously we're not going to be able to get all the information. So let's do that now. So let's save that, that's fine. So instead of having to write this every time, what we're going to do, we're going to create another folder in the source file called, you can call it library. And we're going to say appwrite.js, okay? And we're going to take everything from here and put it into there. So, okay, and now we're just going to export const databases. So that we don't have to do that every time. Actually, let's see. Export const databases. Actually, we just put it there. And that's that. And we can get rid of that, put that back in here. Alright, so now we can import databases, but instead of it being from Appwrite, it'll be from lib for Appwrite. So that should still work now. Yep, it's still there. And now let's work on the listing itself. So we're going to get rid of this content, we'll leave the default there, and we'll get rid of this as well. Undo. Okay, So we'll get rid of this render. We will get rid of content there, and we'll remove all the data that's here basically. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of do the same thing. And we're going to basically get the database. So we're going to import again databases from the library, and we're going to say await. How do we do it in the index here? List documents. Do this. And what we're going to also do is we're going to import query from Appwrite. And if we look at the documentation, so we want to say like query equals, sorry about that, query equals. So we'll do this. And instead of, we'll say slug, and we will change all of that to say slug, because that's what we're getting from the rental titles. Awesome. All right. So format document, right? Excellent. So all of this will be, we're getting the slug from the parameters, and if it's undefined or if the rental is undefined, we're going to go to a 404 page. And if the, I need to change that to slug. Okay. So now we should be able to go here, and it should take us. All right. So we're going to change this amenities here. I'm going to remove that completely. And we're just going to put rental.amenities. Okay. All right. So now we're not getting the information, but we're kind of getting what we want in each page. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to make a condition. And we're just going to say rental if it exists, basically, and we're going to do that. Okay. Let me see. We get that. Okay. 1 second. Okay. So basically, what we're doing, we're accessing the first rental in the array. And we should be able to see everything is there. Okay, so the amenities I have to fix, but right now, here we go. So basically, if we look through we're importing the query from Appwrite and all the databases from our setup here. And basically what we're doing is we're getting the very first rental that comes back. And from that rental, we're going to get the title, main image, the slug, the description, the location, and all of that. And then rental.amenities, we're going to say .map, we're going to say item, going to say any. I'm going to say item. Actually, we're going to split it first. Split. We're going to split it by \n, and then we're going to map it. Okay, let's just debug that. Console.log rental. Let's see what we're getting back. Amenities, okay, rental dot amenities. Let's see, what do we get back? Remove that now. It's all trial and error. Okay, so that's what we got. We're getting the amenities back like that. Excellent. So if we say rental dot amenities. We should be getting back everything. Okay, excellent. So, okay, we're going to say li rental. Okay, we're going to go rental dot amenities dot map item, and we are going to say li item. So it's saying that it can't read it. It's not reading it as a. Okay. Dot. Join. Split. Okay, so when we get the rental back, we are going to convert the amenities string into an array. So we'll create an amenities here, and we'll say it's called rental amenities, and it's a ternary operator. So if we're going to split everything with the \n, which is what comes, how it's written, and we will say if there's anything there, split everything, and if not, make it an empty array. And we're going to just call this amenities. Oops. Amenities.map. And here we go. So now we take a look. Here it is. So all the amenities are written here. And we can change that to, say, give it a class or font of italic, for example, and they'll all change italic. We could give it anything, so we could say here class font dash bold, and there you go, we've got location Paris, France in bold. And we can say this is a span, and we can change that class to font normal, and you see we can, yeah, so we can do the same to each. Price per night, bedrooms, bathrooms, guests, rental. Okay. Bedrooms, bathrooms, max guests. So instead of doing all of that, actually we will just copy the first part here. obviously you could make this into a component of some kind if you wanted to, but I found it probably just easier to do it this way for now. And we'll do the same for here. And we'll make sure that we close the span after each thing. So we go here, and here we go. So we just format the document. Alright, so just realized I've moved this outside of where it needs to be. It needs to be in here. Okay, so we've messed something up. So if we got this one, okay, UL is here, okay. Okay, and guests seems to be in another location for some reason. So can't actually see. Oh yeah, here it is. Let's move all of that to here. Okay, so now we should have everything back to normal. Excellent. So make sure that the span is at the right location. That one's fine, this one isn't, you see. And make sure that the span is in the right place. Inside the list item. And we format. That should work now. Okay, so that's right. So we've got the location, bedrooms, guests, bathrooms, etc. So this is being pulled in from the Appwrite project that we have with rentals. So if we go to databases, listings, rental list, this is the document that it's pulling. It's pulling all of that. So now that we can pull things dynamically, let's see if we can add things dynamically. So first of all, before we conclude and go back to my header, I'm going to get rid of this ahref listings because that's just the main folder, the index file we were doing. So here we go. So now we just need the add a listing. So if I sign out, home, okay, and I click, so I'm not signed in at all, but I can still see all of this information. But as you can see, I can't add anything. And if I inadvertently, cancel. If I inadvertently go to add listing, it will take me back to the login. So, okay, so that's what we'll do next time. Okay, so last time we created the login and added the profile. What we've done is we've added a link called add listing, and if we look at our header component, we can see that we're getting the signed in, signed out, and sign out button from the clerk, and this is getting the details. We're adding it to Astro locals, and we can see that when we're signed in, so when Clerk has returned the fact that we're signed in, we've got the profile link, but we've also got add listing link, only if we're signed in. So that's why we can see this add listing. Also on this page, what I've done, we're going to look at all of these are all being pulled from the database in Appwrite. So if I go to my Appwrite, go to my console, I've made a project called rentals, and I've created a database called listings and a collection called rental list. Yep. So what we can do now is take a look at the attributes of everything in this collection. So it takes in the title, slug, location, category, room type, amenities, main image, description, max guests, price per night, bathrooms, bedrooms, and they're all strings and they're all required. And in the settings, right now I've enabled anybody to create anything, but obviously you don't want to do this in production. You want to just have maybe just users and only have anybody read the files like they probably would do on Airbnb. So that's that. And we've also got a storage bucket called listings bucket, and this is where all the images are coming from. And when you upload an image, it gives you a file URL, which is the same URL inside of our main image. If we look at one of these, the data, this is basically what we once we've uploaded the image, we'll get the ID back, and the ID, this will be put into our document. So now that we have all of that in the back end, this is the front end. We've also added, updated the categories section. So if I go to city, I'm also getting properties that have that city as the category. And if we take a look at that, so that was the header, we can sort it out. These are the categories that we are pulling in. And here we are basically saying, if we look at our Appwrite, we're bringing in the database and the storage. And here we're saying, okay, I want you to take everything from my database, which is called listings, and my collection is called rental list, and only show me the ones that have the category from the params. So that's what this is doing. And now if we look at add listing, so this is what the add listing page looks like. So basically on the front end is just a form. So you just fill everything out. You got the title, description, again it corresponds to everything that's in a document, slug, location, max guests, etc. When it comes to the room type, I just added a select with a few options, and the category is being pulled in from the data categories JSON file. And we can also even choose a file to upload. So in the backend, in the actual page, what we're doing is we're importing ID from Appwrite itself, but the database and storage is coming from our lib Appwrite.js file. We're declaring the project database, collection, and storage IDs. Just saves us from writing it further down. And when we're asking Astro, we're posting the form, it's going to take all of these, so the title, description, guest, slug, location, price, everything. When it gets to the image file, we basically say, if there's an image that's uploaded, store it in the Appwrite storage, so that's the storage ID. So it says basically, create the file storage ID and change this image ID from blank to the ID of the uploaded file. Then what we're doing after that is creating a document with all the information. So the database ID, the collection ID, and it's going to give you a unique ID for the document. Then it's going to take everything from our form, the title, description, etc. But for the main image, we're basically creating this link with the storage ID and the image ID that we got earlier and the project ID. So if everything goes well and everything's successful, it will take you back to the home page. If not, obviously it will show any errors. And we're pulling in the categories from data categories JS. Yep. Okay, so now the form. So it's just a div and a section and another div to start, just to get the format. And we're having a H2, which just describes what is happening, adding a new rental. And we're taking the user's first name, where you could do anything there if you want. But this is the main crux of the page, which is the form, and its method is post, and the encryption type is multi-port form data, so that's with images as well. So every div has a label and an input. Now the input has to have the same name as the data that you want to send. So get title has to have title as its name, and you've got here description, which is a text area, but it still has to have name. The slug, location, max guests, min guests, bedrooms, bathrooms, price per night, room type. Okay, so the room type, here's the select I was talking about. And I've just given it some options here. You could add more or take away, it's up to you. And then the category, it's basically looping through all the categories we have in that file, in this file here. And it was only printing out the label. And with the amenities, again, it's a text area, and make sure the name corresponds to what you want. And then you've got the upload file. Yeah. Lastly, we have the submission button, and all the styling. I mean, the styles I'm not going to go through because you can style it the way you like, but that is basically what this is here. So we're going to do one together, and I'm going to use the camping one I have. So here we go. So we're just going to say camping house. This is a description of a camping house for rent. Right? So we're going to say rental camping location. We're going to say, let's go with Madrid, Spain. Bedrooms 1, bathrooms 0, price per night 60. Tent, camping, Wi-Fi, pool access, kitchen access, and bathroom access. Okay, so we've already uploaded we've already added the image. So let's add rental. And if all goes well, it should take us to the main page. And there it is. So if we click on it, we should see all the details come back. And we can update that to say what we need. Okay, so now if we look into our listings, our database, listings rental list, we should see camping house. And if we look at the data, we've got camping house, rental camping, everything is here. We actually say, instead of kitchen access, we can just update this to coffee maker and microwave. Yeah, we're going to update that. And if you can see here, we've got this listings bucket and the file is given this ID. So what we could do, we go to the storage, we go to our listings bucket, and we can see this, and this is the ID that's come back. All right, so that's it. So that's adding a listing, and I added some more earlier, and basically went through the same process, and there you go. So next we'll look at actually deploying this onto a site, and we'll do that next. Okay, so once you're happy with your site and everything's working the way that you want, the next thing to do is to deploy it so that other people can see it, because this is just running locally on your machine. So the first thing to do obviously is to upload everything to GitHub. So when you initialized everything, let us make a change so you can see this. Okay, let's see. Copyright. Okay, let's save that. So what we're going to do, we're going to commit everything here. So I'm just going to say update footer. You should commit throughout every time you make a change. And then what you do, you sign up. I'm going to use Netlify as the what I'm using. So then I add a new site, import an existing site, and I would say I'm going to import it from GitHub. And I'm going to basically choose the Astro Rentals, and I'm going to call it Astro Rentals. And everything is fine here, but the one thing to remember is because we are using Clerk, we need to add the environment variables here. So let's do that now. So make sure you've done that. You should leave everything else by default, that all works, but make sure you've added those keys, and you say deploy Astro Rentals. So what this is going to do is going to take everything from your GitHub repository and deploy that and run npm run like we do on here. It's going to do the same on here. So we wait for that to build, and once it's built, then we can see the site live, and you would be able to go and see it there. Now I'm obviously going to change the fact that anyone can create, but I will do that, but you can still go and see. So then you can say open production deploy. And there it is. So this is fully functioning, everything works. We've got city here, everything relating to the city. So if we go to the one that we just made with Madrid, Spain. So that's the image, and that's everything here, amenities, etc. So there you go. Obviously you can add more to it, like updating, if you added the rental, you can update or delete it. I didn't add that as a feature, but that's something that you could figure out how to do that. But it was just an idea of, how to use Astro and Appwrite. It's such a powerful software. I really love it, and I hope this has been helpful to you to see how to make something similar to this. Obviously using your own styles and everything. This is just an idea, but this is how you could go about creating a similar rental website. So that's everything, and I hope you've enjoyed, and see you in the next series.